Hey everyone, Yan Zhao here again. Finally, after long last, I got issues 13 and 14 of It Came Out on a Wednesday, and we're gonna do this video. Well, I'm sorry for the audio. It's gonna suck. I have to do a lunch break car comic review, and it's raining. Not much I can do about that. So, it's been a long time since I've made any Alterna reviews, and part of that reason is just due to slowdowns due to COVID. There was some issue with the printing, I know. Things getting held up due to snow, due to this, due to that. But it is all good. That, and I was waiting for, I actually have some other books here. Reviews coming later. I got the Downcast, and we're going to review, or we're going to compare and contrast, rather, what a newsprint book looks like versus the original print with glossy paper. And finally, after about a year, Legends of Log 1 and 2. I would have done Legends of Log 1 earlier, but unfortunately my copy had an accident with a toddler. So getting back to It Came Out on a Wednesday. For anyone who's new, It Came Out on a Wednesday is from Alterna Comics, and it's an anthology. Different amounts of stories, different times. Sometimes you'll have maybe 2 stories, sometimes you'll have several stories. This one I quite like, issue 13. First of all, I love this color, or cover, and I like the colors. The art itself kind of reminds me of, I can't remember the artist's name, but they had done some work for Marvel in the late 80s or maybe around 1990, especially a couple of the New Mutant, either, I can't remember if it was the annuals or if they were just one-shots, but it's quite nice to see. Alright, so story number 1. I really like this one. Art by Landon Franklin, Andrew Pate for the colors, and story and letters Wes Locker. Man, Wes Locker is like on pretty much all of these. I don't know if he has like a permanent gig, a permanent slot. Peter Simeti calls him up, hey, what are you doing for your 5-page story? So at any rate, we end up in, I don't know if it's like a wasteland. It kind of looks like the city's a bit messed up back here, so post-apocalyptic, I suppose you'd say. We end up with the crew. They're doing a job. He likes to call this lady stick butt. And, of course, things are gonna go wrong. Meeting a giant robot. So overall, I like this story. My biggest problem with it is I want more. But the art is cool. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of a lot of probably late 80s Marvel books. The style changed by the 90s. So you can see even this guy, he's jacked. He's clearly hitting the gym, but he's not like overly so, you know, and he doesn't have like 2% body fat where you can see every muscle. And this guy, looks like he's in shape, but he's skinny. By the 90s in Marvel and DC, just everybody was over muscled. Story 1, and then we end up with Terror of the Skies, or Patera, however you prefer to pronounce it. So we start off with a guy who talks what appears to be a homeless man out of his knife, knifing him. And we find out that he's some kind of a superhero in a pterodactyl suit. The only part I don't like is I'm not a big fan of Seattle, so there's that. But, hey, you gotta be somewhere, right? interview with Steve Madro. I do like that there's always some interview with the designers of the covers. And then for me, this is kind of like the breakout story here, Brenda. So Brenda is about the Horde travels southward towards warmer lands in Azok. Brenda and her father, Lord Steelhammer, enjoy a market along the way. So this little girl's dad is basically Conan the Barbarian. And it's so nice. I love bringing you, daughter. And then she wants everything like little kids do. And she's got some kind of like, I don't know, furry gremlin type thing. So at any rate, she goes for hot springs. Gets, into her skivvies, I guess you'd say. Hops on in. Bam! A snow snake appears. And it's about her fighting off the snow snake because she is a steel hammer. And first of all, I love the art. Just the quality of the art. This isn't what you'd see in a normal comic book. A normal comic book would be a bit more like that first story. Flip back. I would expect this is like sort of standard American comic bookish art. But this stuff is great. It's a lot more cartoony, almost, I don't want to say Disney style. It's certainly not Disney style, but it's more on that spectrum, right? Where Huey, Louie, and Dewey, even though they are ducks, they're not proportioned like normal ducks. They're cartoons. I really like this one. Again, my biggest problem with most of these, it came out on a Wednesdays, is that I want more. Like, I would love to have a whole book of Brenda. If I had kids, especially if I had daughters, Brenda would be a heck of a lot of fun to read with them. It's just kids getting in weird adventures with giant snakes and, good family things. She's hanging out with her dad. Her dad likes to bring her along. She's not annoying. She's not abused. She's not ignored. Kids, living up to their own potential. They're not helpless, always waiting for adults, because she's a steel hammer. That was 13. Now we get into issue 14. Again, very nice cover by Aaron Bolduc. Hopefully I said that right. And yes, Frankengore. I believe this is a continuation of a story in, I don't remember if it came out on a Wednesday 10 or 11, something around there, by the masterful Frankie B. Washington, a man who knows all about kaiju and mecha. So in the last one, they were on this island and there were like mushrooms that kind of messed people up physically. It's been a while since I read them, so I'm not quite sure. But so Frankengore, who, as you can see, is I guess he's like a patched together, reanimated from the dead King Kong. They're heading out until they get near the island of Dr. Y, Warlord of the Pacific. And he captures Frankengore, and he's using him to make Mecha Frankengore. It's never really said why, other than he is going to use it a new era of perfect peace. So she uses some mushroom power, which I think is new, and releases Frankengore. Frankengore comes out, and then they make their way on. So these are some very cool other artworks in addition to this cover. And then, again, who do we have here? Story and Letters, Wes Locker. I don't know. Now this kind of makes me want to go through all the... It came out on a Wednesday's past and see exactly what he's done. But one thing that's nice is the different artists that he works with really pick up different tones in the story. So this one is about there's something out there. Similar maybe to The Fog with a little Jack the Ripper influence. They're in this store and cops are telling them, stay there. People are dying outside. Blaming the attacks on a wild animal. But nobody knows what's going on. And I love this art. This is like very dark and sort of brooding. I do like in this instance that it's black and white as well. You could color it, but I kind of feel like this really adds to it. First of all, in the mood, just the black and white. And two, is it looks kind of old-timey. All right, and someone comes in from outside, and we'll skip the rest here. But it's also a great story, which, hopefully gets picked up in the future. And that is the last one, and we have some fan art with Log from Legends of Log. So, again, I want to see like a whole adventure of Frankengore. I really kind of wish that, I don't know, they took some books, for example, Legends of Log, which had a bunch of between 3 and I think like 6-page stories, crammed them together to make Legends of Log #1. And I kind of wonder if that's the idea for some of these other ones. I just kind of wish we had time to, get that one shot, or even a giant size, like a 50-60 page, all at one time. I don't know how that would be possible financially. It seems like it'd be a huge burden on the artists, on the creators, but well. But yeah, it came out on a Wednesday, 13 and 14. I highly recommend them. There's always great stories. If you like anthologies, if you like to see different kinds of stories and different kinds of art, this is probably the best place right now in comics. So if you like the video, thumbs up, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys later with some of those other reviews.